I'm getting a really strong message here that there was betrayal, infidelity, kind of more specifically, a betrayal of some variety, probably infidelity in this relationship. And what I can't figure out right now, which is interesting, we're definitely going to dig into this because I'm super curious, is I can't tell if it was one of you or both of you, because there are indications here that you guys might have been unfaithful to each other, but you're still together. And we'll get into that in a second. And now you're in a place of, where do we go from here, right? So I'm getting that you guys are still together, but now there's a question. Is this okay? Are we going to be okay with this? Are we going to be like are we going to have an open relationship? Are we cool with that? That's kind of the energy that I'm getting with this, which is super interesting because this is, I'm kind of nearing the end. I left the air signs for the end this time around. And so you guys are my last readings, and I haven't had one like this before. So this is super juicy, and I'm really interested to see what we get here. Of course, Gemini, you're always interesting, right? So, all right, you came through as the Strength card. So this represents your overall energy for the relationship. All right. And what I'm getting here is that you may be really trying to find like an internal balance between what you might be craving and what you might be desiring, and, you know, kind of what makes sense, you know, in the real world type of thing. I think that you're very interested in being with the person that you're with. I don't know that you're uninterested in this person, at least not from these cards, but you have some kind of internal struggle, some kind of internal battle, or some internal something that you're trying to work out and work through, whatever that means for you, okay? The energy of the person that you're thinking about, and I am, if I'm getting work messages, I'll let you know. Right now I'm not. Right now I'm getting that this is a personal relationship, but if I get something for work, I will definitely let you know. The person that you are thinking about, this is the energy that they are currently in. And this is called Power in this deck, but this is the Emperor in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And what's interesting about this is that the story of Arthur and Guinevere is that she betrayed him, right? And he stuck with her anyway. And then look at what we got for the, this is the overall relationship energy, all right? The overall relationship energy is the Queen of Pentacles, and that's represented by Zeus's wife, Hera. And so if you know anything about Greek mythology, you know that Zeus was a philandering whatever, right? He did it with anybody he wanted. He spread his seed all over the place, and she stayed with him anyway, which is really interesting. All right, so this is kind of like the dynamic. This is the high level dynamic that you guys are currently in. So Gemini, you're trying to work something out here internally. This person, oops, sorry, that's in the middle. This person is, again, and I'll show you here in a second why I can't figure out if it's you or them. But there's some kind of relationship betrayal happening here on their side, at least an acknowledgement of it. If not, they have done that as well. And then we have, this is the overall energy of the relationship, which is you guys are sticking together despite, right? Despite Gemini maybe having some inclinations towards wanting to explore, maybe be polyamorous or something, and maybe having knowledge that your current partner has been with other people, but you guys are sticking together anyway. And now, mind you, there's zero judgment for me on any of this. I'm just kind of telling you what I see from the cards. All right, so back to you. What you want from the relationship. So I pulled another set of 3 cards to kind of take a deeper look at the relationship. And this next set is, Gemini, what do you want from the relationship? What do they want from the relationship? And then what was the main obstacle or challenge of the relationship, all right? So you, Gemini, came through as, in this deck it's called Illusion. This is the moon in reverse for what you want from the relationship. So in this position, the moon can be about our dreams, our subconscious, the things we may not be sharing, are maybe some type of secrets, that type of energy. Things that we kind of keep internal, that we're not necessarily sharing, excuse me. But you came up this way for what you want. So maybe, Gemini, what you're trying to get figured out here is, you know, can I have an open relationship? Can we do this? You know, like should we really actually talk about the logistics of making this like a real thing? Like having some kind of agreement that we talk about, and lay down some ground rules? Like, should we do this? I think you're trying to think through that. You know, I don't know that you're necessarily sharing it, but maybe you want to, right? Maybe you want to, or maybe because it's in reverse, you either want to or you've started to try to kind of, if not figure it out within yourself, also start to possibly communicate it to the person that you're with, right? So that's really interesting. What the person you're thinking about, what they want from the relationship, they came out as the King of Cups in reverse. In this deck, the story of Mark is that he gets betrayed. So there's like betrayal all over this, right? So like 4 cards, if not 5, point to like secrets and betrayal, which is really interesting. So, you know, this is what they want from the relationship. So in this position, he's betrayed, right? So maybe she wants the same thing that you want, right? So this was you and this is them. So maybe you guys don't want to be in this energy anymore of like not being open and honest. The other thing with this card that I didn't tell you was, besides that he was betrayed, not only by his, I think it's his nephew, and then the woman that he married, he kept it. He kept it to himself and he stayed. Like, he's the king. He could have had her killed, but he didn't. He kept her, you know? So again, another, like, it's a completely different story, but same type of idea. So if you guys are both coming up in this energy of like, we don't, because these are not good energies, right? Like when they're upright, these are not necessarily the most positive cards, or actually, excuse me, they are. But you want to kind of get rid of that, right? You want to have, how do I want to explain this? I'm really picking up on the story here. So the King of Cups inherently is not a bad card. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm really tuning into the story here in this card, which is that he was betrayed because of all the other indicators that I'm getting. So you guys want to snap out of this energy. I don't think either of you want to be in secrets and betrayal and hiding and not telling. And I think you guys want to like be open and honest about what you're doing. And again, we'll see if we can get clarification on if it's you or if it's them or if it's both of you that are kind of have opened the relationship up. But I'm really just finding this fascinating, all right? And the last card that we'll look at before we get some clarifiers is the main obstacle or challenge for the relationship. And that came through as the Two of Staves, otherwise known as the Two of Wands. And this is where you guys are trying to figure out what's next. Like, where do we go from here? How do we manage this going forward? And that's where I think this relationship is right now, all right? So there's a lot to dig in here. Where to start? Gemini, I'm going to start with you. And I'm going to ask for some clarification on the Strength card to see if we can get some insight into what it is that you're trying to get figured out and work out internally. So for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, please get clarification on this Strength card representing Gemini's current energy. What are they trying to work out? What are they trying to figure out? What is this internal struggle? What are they working on internally? It's for Gemini, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Clarification for the Strength card. All right, so you are getting Shadow Dance, otherwise known as the Devil. I'm giggling. I'm not shaking my head in judgment. I'm kind of giggling with you, Gemini. The Seven of Wands and the Queen of Swords. To clarify the Strength card. Yeah, this really does reinforce what I got from that original card, Gemini. I think you have some desires and some needs and some wants. I'm assuming they're probably linked to sexual activity or physicality in some way. Don't necessarily have to, but you know, there's definitely an indication of that here. But what I'm getting, more importantly, is that there's something more that you want. Like, I think you like the relationship that you're in. I'm not getting any indication that you don't like the relationship that you're in. But like, there's the Gemini curiosity, right? It's kind of that thing. It's like, I want to explore and I want to go out and I want to see and I want to try and I want to do and I want to learn. And it's that type of thing. But more specifically tied to, you know, I think it's like maybe sexuality and physicality or something, like exploration in that way. And here's another, like, a battle card. But for you, I'm really getting that this is an internal battle. So maybe you're feeling guilty. Are you having like Catholic guilt or something if you were raised Catholic? You know, I think polyamory can be really a beautiful thing for some people. Not all of us are cut out for monogamous traditional relationships, you know, and the Gemini brain, you know, we're speaking generally here, of course, it depends on your chart and a lot of other factors, obviously, but, you know, in general, you know, the Gemini brain is probably well adapted for being polyamorous, if that's what you guys are thinking about, okay? And the Queen of Swords here for the Strength card is maybe kind of goes back to what we tapped into here, which is you guys need to start talking about it, or you need to start talking about it. Like, once you get clear, if you're not already, on what it is that you want and what you might want it to look like, you guys need to talk about it, and you need to be honest and open about what you're thinking and what your needs are and what you want to try. Okay? In a thoughtful way. You know, don't be the mean Queen of Swords. Nobody likes the mean Queen of Swords. But you can be direct and honest and still be compassionate, right? About what your needs and wants are. Okay. This might end up being a bit of a long reading. Let's look into this too for you, Gemini. The Illusion card in reverse. What clarification can we give Gemini related to what they want from this relationship? Clarification on this Illusion card in reverse, please, for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. All right, the Sun, to clarify the Moon in reverse, there's that clarity, right? There's the no more secrets. The Sun highlights everything. It you know, it's a spotlight, right? I think you guys need to, like, Six of Wands, You guys need to talk about some stuff. And the Chariot. Yeah. In order for this relationship, Gemini, to progress and to, kind of move forward in a healthy direction, some clarity needs to happen, and that's what the Sun is telling us here. You guys need to get clear, not only about your intentions and your feelings, but also like maybe lay down some ground rules, because success, the Six of Wands, can be had after, it might be a bit of a struggle, right? Like those conversations are never easy. But if you manage to have them and they turn out well, what I'm getting here is that there is a good possibility for that having a good turnout of this conversation, because you're getting the Six of Wands and then the Chariot, which is kind of like the green light, go. And like a successful conversation. And it might take a few difficult and challenging conversations, like that Five of Wands energy would be the difficult, challenging conversations tied to something like this. But there's a strong indication here with the Sun too, that it will end up turning out, in your best interest anyway, right? We're looking at you right now. So it's really interesting that for this moon in reverse, we've got the Sun and then a couple of really awesome, positive, like go forward clarifiers for, kind of getting rid of this illusion and getting rid of the secrets. All right. No more secrets. The tarot was telling you no more secrets. All right. So let's see if we can get, I'm not going to pull separate, excuse me, my nose is itchy. I'm not going to pull separately for these two, but I'm going to pull these two. I'm going to pull clarifiers for these kind of together, and I'm going to ask, this is for kind of what the general dynamic of the relationship is. So, you've stayed together. I'm getting that very strongly, so I'm going to kind of stick with that you guys have stayed together. And if for some reason there are some of you where this has been like I don't know that it's a full breakup, right? So if there is some kind of separation, I really think you guys are still in contact. I don't think that this is like a hard split in any way. And I'm getting more strongly that you guys are still together and trying to kind of figure out what's next. So let's see if we can get some clarification on that. So what is next here to clarify this Two of Staves for Gemini? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, please. What clarification can we give Gemini? The Three of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. Guess what, Gemini? The universe is suggesting here what's next, all right? Where do we go from here? Work, 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 work. You guys have to work together on this. This is not something that's going to happen in your mind. It's not something that's going to happen in isolation. This is something that needs to happen in collaboration with this other person. And it's going to take work. This is not going to be like an easy peasy thing. I'm guessing from these cards. From the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles is taking the resources that we have and shifting them, right? So you might need to temporarily, if you're already involved in another relationship, so like if you have this relationship and you have kind of somebody else on the side, you may need to put that on hold for a moment or two while you get the logistics of this worked out with the other person, is what I'm getting from this Two of Pentacles. That's what that's suggesting to me, is that you're going to have a bit of a challenge. I'm just going to be very blunt with you. I'm trying to find a more generic way to say this, but it's not coming to me. So I think for this person, and we'll dig into them next, but for this person that you're thinking about, I think that they would be much more open and receptive to this offer. if anything extraneous was kind of put on hold for a few moments, so that you guys could focus on this relationship and what it's going to look like, right? And like, so you find an agreement. If it is the poly thing, you find that agreement, you go down that path, but you guys do some defining and some work on what that looks like, and then you take it back out, you know?